All right, guys, we're going to get this party started tonight. It is the Space Bro Show, hosted by me, Mitauchi, and we are going to be joined tonight by Stoutman, Zealous Fox, and Kato. Let's go ahead and get in there and get them introduced and all that good stuff. And here is the fearsome foursome for this evening's Space Bro Show. We're going to get their volume turned up so you can actually hear them. I know I like to keep them quiet just because you never know what they're going to say. But let's say hello to Mr. Stoutman. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
There you go. Zealous Fox and his super chroma keyed background. Woo! How are you doing tonight? He's doing good. I put him on the spot. Went over the top with chroma key. It's all good. All right, and then we got Mr. Kato joining us back with his magnificent beard.
Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing this wonderful Friday evening?
There you go. So, I was sitting there. I had the whole pre-roll going and everything. And I was like watching on Twitch. I'm like, man, it still hasn't fed out. It still hasn't fed out. Twitch has been buggy lately for me. I don't know. And I've talked to 2 or 3 other streamers, and it's just been, they've had some drama with it. I mean, it seems like when I go live, it's been fine. But it's getting it to the live point's been a little bit of a head case lately, so. But, yeah, we're here now, and we got lots of good things to talk about with Star Citizen news for the week. We've had a pretty good week of information and announcements and all sorts of other little tidbits and goodies. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think we've had everything from 2.3 go live, right? We've had that happen over, what was it last Friday?
Yeah.
Last Friday, right when we were wrapping up the show and all that stuff. I think it didn't go live till pretty late.
Yeah, it went like 2 a.m.
2 a.m. But for all in all, for a live push, I think that this build's been great live. The live version's been really solid. They've had a little bit of intermittent issues with some of the PTU builds here and there, but it's nothing too terrible. Nothing like what we've seen in the past where they kind of shut everything down. But yeah, I've really enjoyed it. So what have you guys thought about the Starfarer now that everybody's done that? What are the reactions like from other people you talk to, like regarding them walking around the Starfarer and seeing it and all that stuff?
Some people, I haven't seen some people for a while. I think they're still lost inside.
It's a little overwhelming, you know, because at first I was like, okay, this is a huge ship. Then you kind of walk around and you're like, okay, on the scale of Star Citizen, this is not a huge ship. But for us, as little fighter pilots up to this point, this ship is massive. It's just massive. But it's like people just go in there and I'll be talking to somebody either, you know, on Discord or whatever, and they're going in the Starfarer for the first time, and they just stop talking. You know, they're like, I just don't know what to say. This is big. So it's a little overwhelming. So I've been really happy with that. I'd say beginning of this week, we started out with the 10 for the chair, which I see Chris kind of dumped it on his brother to do that one, which was cool. You got to listen to a little more Aaron Roberts than we normally get to. And I think his perspective, even though he might be as long-winded as his brother and stuff, I think we get a lot of good information about seeing the other side of the company on the Foundry 42 side. Just a lot of good things. And he gives a little bit more, just like Chris does. He gives a little bit more info than he probably should on like how they're advancing and stuff. But it's so good for us as Star Citizens to see that. It makes me super excited about the next things to come. So, what were you guys the most excited about that you've heard or seen this last week? Stoutman, what did you see that was like really pumped you up about the game?
Well, the AI for NPCs looked pretty good. They showed a little spot of that around the verse yesterday, I think it was.
Yeah, the collision
that looks pretty
thing,
cool.
I think they're doing. I think that was pretty cool. The collision avoidance.
Yeah, I saw that clip of video on the tour last week, so now I can talk about it.
There you go. Yeah, he's getting a little more inside information than the rest of us. So
he went to LA office and right before the last show, he said he just got back from the office. It's like NDA.
That's all you can say.
No, don't ask me questions. I won't answer.
Isn't
No,
that
I told him
torturous though? You like see all this cool shit. You're like you can't say anything about it.
It is. It's like, well, I also can't wait until it comes in game because now I know about
Yeah.
it. So it's cool and it's bad. So it's
Yeah.
half and half.
Yeah, it kind of gives you a preview and stuff. You know what'd be interesting is like after it's released and you can talk about even more what you saw. It'd be interesting to see how it changes because things are so fluid and dynamic over there. Like what you see in one instance, like you go 3 months down the road and it's like, they changed it up quite a bit from what they were originally showing, what they were going to do. So that's pretty cool to see too.
The last time I had an NDA was for Elder Scrolls Online, and all I could tell people was, it's alpha, it's broken.
There you go.
Those two words go together all the time.
Yeah, that's definitely right.
It's like,
They do. And I blame things like Battlefield and consoles for ruining what the alpha actually is because, like, there's been so long that, like, console games started releasing these things, calling them alphas and betas, and they're full-fledged games that are basically advertisements for their game. And then now it's an expectation by a lot of gamers when they hear alpha or beta. It's like, oh, it should be a functioning, working system, You just go into it and that. And we've learned as playing in a real computer world in a beta/alpha environment, you learn that is not the case. That is we're back to where it was. So
Yeah, they call their stress tests beta testing, and it's like, okay, testing your servers is not exactly beta. But
well, that's usually like the last month before release when it's pretty much done and they're just tuning and adjusting.
Yeah,
that's the final betas.
Yeah. I think really we saw everybody from Ubisoft to EA and stuff using that as a crutch though with their console version of the games because they wanted to that's their oh shit button, right? Because if they call it a beta and they try to run it and it fails, they're like, oh no, it's just a beta, whatever thing.
Right.
So now when we're actually true testers and stuff in a game and we're actually part of the community trying to build it up, it's like they're like, oh, this is beta, this should be about done, or this is alpha and this should be so close. I'm like, no. Alpha can go on forever if you really wanted to, depending where you are in developmentally in the game. But so we had Aaron Roberts. I'm trying to remember if anything stood out from the interview with him. He had a lot of good info, but it was just kind of like, I don't know.
It was
felt
pretty
like
generic.
It was, but it felt like that warm, soothing, like I felt comfortable. Whenever I see Chris or Aaron outside of the last 10 for the chair, I didn't really care for that one with Chris because it just felt like generic robot feed. But this one with Aaron, I felt a little bit better because he gives a little bit more information. Like he hinted towards persistence, which made my ears like perk straight up. I was like, oh my god, persistence? Oh yeah, persistence should be really soon. What?
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely. I think you can really kind of tell when you see them and they're talking about a lot of the stuff is like, they're not really stressing. I mean, they have some pretty big dates coming up this year that they're not, they're not freaking out yet, which is a good thing. I mean, it definitely leads me to believe that they're a lot further along than the PU is. Maybe not as far along, but Squadron 42, I think, is definitely right where it needs to be.
Yeah, I think so. And that was something I was, a little bit concerned about. I know they're on the balls where they want to be with most things, especially, you have to give Aaron Roberts a lot of credit because he's gotten the company now in a cycle over the last 6-8 months to where you have the EU side finishing up a build. It gets tested during their nighttime to the U.S. time zone. So by the time it rolls back over their time zone, they're ready to work either on the next build or it's released. And they're doing a full fluid motion, whereas before, you go to the beginning of last year, if not the end of the prior year of 2014, and they were like struggling to figure out how to communicate. So, I mean, like they keep saying, they're working on building the cycles and productivity of the company. They're building a company while they're trying to build a game, and that's so challenging, but I feel like they're really catching their stride. And I think 2016 is going to be their year because they're really hammering shit out now.
It's all coming together.
Really well. And you see it because you're like sitting there going, well, I don't know what's going on with, Squadron 42. We haven't heard anything about the Idris. And then they come on just a random interview, and they're even pressed about it, right? And they're like, oh yeah, we've been flying around with the Idris trying to do, multi-crew and battles with it for a while now. I'm just like, what? Us as regular people, like, are outside the circle. We're like, oh wow, that's already happening. That's really cool. So those things I heard about were super exciting. Persistence has probably still got me the most excited. The fact that we should see that hopefully by 2.4. I mean, there's no promises, obviously. You don't know what will happen, but they're really trying to push that in there by 2.4 to get some level of persistence. And that's going to change. They had a lot more time
than most of the patches that they've put out this year, too, because they got the 2.3 out pretty quickly.
They did. Yeah. They went through it pretty quick. I mean, 2.2 is kind of... 2.3 has been a way better patch, I think, overall, as far as the live push and everything. And
yeah,
go ahead.
I'd be a little careful about expecting 2.4 to bring in persistence. I think if we go back and we look at the special subscriber edition of Reverse the Verse, a lot of people took away from it that there was going to be something in 2.4, but I think realistically the persistence is just going to be in the background in 2.4, and then 2.5 is when you'll really start seeing it. But I don't think we're going to see a lot of persistent stuff happening in 2.4, but it's going to be server-side changes in 2.4.
Like loadouts being saved and stuff like that.
It's going to be real minor, and then they're going to slowly add to it. That's how you have to develop something like this.
Absolutely. I mean, I'll be excited if I can have my fittings saved server side and be able to like come back with them and have things like ship damage states and stuff like that. And I know it probably won't drop right immediately then, but hopefully maybe one of the supplemental builds past 2.4 or 2.5 itself. You should see that. I know some people are like, "Oh, persistence." So that means we'll have online shopping markets. We'll have. I'm like, no. It's it won't be quite that deep yet.
I'm gonna be making that UEC, son.
Yeah, I just want to. I will be happy even if it's just a saved game state. Like if you have a ship state, because what that means is they have the results of what you did during your session on the server actually persist, and that alone is a huge step because it's just hardlining the other pipes onto that. I mean, it's not once they breach the technical challenges of when you log off, if you can log on and maintain anything from a wall to a ship state to anything, you've already beaten half the issues with maintaining persistence, because it's all about that upload of like what you're doing in game, staying on the server and going from there. So
they did mention it today on Reverse the Verse. It sounded like they were shooting for the ship damage state to be saved and your criminal status to be saved.
Yep.
And it might just be those two simple things, but that you got to start somewhere.
I'm super excited about that. I mean, the fact is, it's like coming from games like EVE Online and all that stuff, persistence is key to any of these games. And once you get that handled, even at a small level, it's just building on it, like what Stoutman was saying, and it's super exciting for me. I mean, because I wanted to I can earn stuff maybe eventually and keep it, and if I blow Kato's wings off his ship, it's still going to be blown up unless he goes repair it. That's just the way it's going to be. It's going to be awesome. So good. Ammo.
For Squadron 42, I want to know how they're doing on the environment side.
The environment sides? I think that's all they were finishing up last I heard was like...
No, they haven't said anything about the environment.
Well, they said they had environmental teams working on it, but that's been 6 months ago, so I would assume they have most of the environments probably done. I know the story obviously is locked, because somebody, and this is an interesting point too, and I think it was I don't know if it was during the first half of the interviews with Aaron Roberts or the second half that they did for ATV, but somebody had mentioned status of, where they were with Squadron 42, and if something would change the story. It might have been actually on the 10 for the chair. I think that was one of the questions posed to him. Like, if there was something that could change or if it was pretty locked in. And Aaron Roberts gave one of the best answers. He's like, this has been locked in since last year. I mean, we were basically just finishing up with Squadron 42, finishing up the plan. Because it's already laid out. Nothing's changing. It's dynamically locked for what's going to happen in Episode 1. And we have a clear path. And I think that is one of the biggest... factors inside the development of Star Citizen and everything else is once they have a roadmap, these guys are pros. They hammer it out. But it's just deciding what the right thing to do is and the best thing for the game is usually their biggest challenge. And sometimes you'll see, like from the development over the last 2 years, they'll go back and forth on stuff. They're like, yeah, maybe this way, nah, maybe this way. And I think that's caused what a lot of people were complaining, like feature creep and stuff like that. That's not going to be an issue with Squadron 42. Plans laid out, they're executing, no problem there. So that's
I think
good.
Yeah, I think that's not just Squadron 42. I think that's where they plan on being overall as a company and overall as both Squadron 42 and the game. They have their goals laid out now.
Yeah.
Like they know what they're shooting for, what they need to accomplish, and they're not going to change that too much. Now, that doesn't include features like, okay, ship layouts, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, okay, what they're going to deliver, what they want to have in the game, I think is pretty much set in stone now for delivery. And then later on down the road, they'll add other features. But realistically, right now, they know what they want to deliver, and they're going to deliver it.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're pretty locked in on that. So I don't think that's even going to be an issue. ATV, again, there's not been, and these guys are working so hard, there's not been like any huge, like, amazing announcements in them, but I've really enjoyed, like, I don't know about everybody else, but I've started and really enjoyed these Lore Maker's Guide for the Galaxies. You know, the first episode with I can't remember her name, no disrespect, but I wasn't really into it because she was a little shaky on the whole thing. I really enjoy some of the storyline and some of the stuff from the head writer, which I also don't remember his name right now.
Well, speaking of which,
What's that?
I'm on the INN for the TV, and they say 18 environment artists from the UK, so and 18 ship artists as well.
Nice.
Yeah, they got like 250 people in the UK.
Yeah, Aaron said they have way more employees in the UK than they do in the US.
That's because it's more efficient to be having more stuff in the UK because they get their taxes back. Although they get a lot bigger taxes back. I mean,
I don't know about all that. I just know that's where
that was
the heavy lifting's being done for the most part. Is
that's where that was stuff said before you joined. From basically,
and I know also over there they have, you have a lot of different countries, a lot of different schools, a large pool of talent that Chris and Aaron have developed relationships with, and they know well. So I'm sure they're pulling some great talented people there as well to work on some of these larger feature sets. So it just makes sense for the way they've developed the company.
Basically, having Squadron 42, and the Foundry 42 in the UK is more money efficient. By a lot because of the way that the British government handles game companies.
Oh, well, that's cool. It's a good way to be with it for sure. So we've had all that. ATV, the sneak peek, what Stoutman was referring to with the AI test, that was really cool. Look to see that they were actually working with the actual player AI and the collision systems and all that stuff. Because when I first watched it, and by the way, I love that format too. I love it a lot better than the art sneak peek they used to do where it was a freeze frame where you actually get to see like a little bit of video roll on what they're doing. But at first I was watching it, and I was watching these players just like walk through each other and stuff. I'm like, is this the collision avoidance? And then it said, now with collision avoidance on. I was like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. I was like, what just happened? I was like, they're walking through each other. How'd that work? So,
but they've got that working pretty well, and it does not use a lot of memory. So that gives us hope that they can have a huge amount of AI characters all over the place and on our ships too, I would assume.
What'd they say, like 7 kilobytes of memory out of 50 characters on the screen? So it was very small.
It was like 60K for however many characters that was, for 50 or
50
something.
50 characters for like 5K.
Yeah.
Whatever it was pretty good.
It was way below a meg, I'll put it that way. So
it was in kilobytes.
Yeah, it was in single kilobytes. I was like, holy crap, it was insane that they were able to do that. So that's really good to have fully functioning characters like that. So then that led us into RTV today. And RTV, they did a couple little highlights there. They talked obviously about the dog tags are still on sale. I don't know if you guys bought dog tags. I'm a sucker for dog tags. I bought dog tags. I have to admit.
I got one.
I definitely ordered it because especially since it was going to have your actual Star Citizen number on it instead of just generic. Like I got my concierge card and I knew they wouldn't put any identification on it, but I still wanted one for $10. But at least this one has my actual member number on the thing. I was like, that's kind of cool.
It's going to be worked on the character after the caterpillar is finished. Some visual changes to the Drake Herald.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what the next images we see of the Herald are because they've made some changes.
We haven't seen it since basically they changed it from asymmetrical to symmetrical.
Basically, that was the last time. I think that was, I don't know what they classified that as, but that's when I bought one when it came up for sale last time.
You got one for during the annual anniversary sale.
That must have been what it was. But yeah, they had all that come out. What was it? They said cargo will be the first career in the actual game.
Yeah. And the next Great Star Marine contest is going to be later this year once they get sponsors set up.
I thought the first career was going to be Big Benny delivery.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're April Fools. I knew they wouldn't do anything as broad as what they did in the last year with the fish and all that stuff. Because, I mean, they were all working so hard. They got a lot of assets to get and everything. But that was still pretty good. It was pretty good to have the Big Bennies.
Spider Mining Walker thing is still being worked on. Mm-hmm. The Argo might go on sale if once they have it flushed out for multiple roles. The ability to shoot people in ships has now become a higher priority.
Yeah, I think that's going to be pretty important. Not this moment, but especially when they start dealing with the locking of doors on the ships and then the breaching and all that stuff. Because they said they didn't want to put the locking implementation on the ships until they had a method for players to breach them as well. So, I mean, that makes sense. Because you don't want to just have everybody just lock their doors and that's the end of that. And then you have to get another ship and blow it up. Especially if you want to get the cargo. I have a feeling all that will come online after cargo gets its legs underneath it. They'll probably do some implementation of the cargo stuff and the locking of doors and all that stuff right around the same time.
They need to have cargo, hacking, locking and closing, and explosives devices in the game before all that is added.
I think they'll just do locking the doors first, get that working, and then start adding ways to circumvent it.
No, they said they weren't going to add locking in the doors until they have a way to forceful open it.
Yeah, because they said they already have the mechanic to lock the doors. They just don't want to implement it until they have a way to blow it up, or hack it or whatever. So it's whatever. But I would assume you wouldn't be able to hack them in safe areas like Port Orlicera because you wouldn't be able to circumvent and blow stuff up or hack in a starting area. But everywhere else you'd probably be able to, because you'd have the option of blowing up the whole ship if you wanted to, right? But if you want the cargo, that's kind of a wasteful way to be a pirate for those people who are going under that career path. Blow up all the cargo too. Let's see. Yeah, they don't know. The multiple biomes for planets isn't known whether it'll be a thing or not. Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to have single biome planets. Like this is Hoth. This is Jungle Planet 2-4. I don't think they're going to have a full scale Earth type planet where you have a snowy area and then temperate and then tropical and all that stuff in the same area. I think they're going to have single biome areas, but so what? That's fine with me.
Well, they talked about that and they said that they didn't really like it, so they might not be doing that.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that hard.
What, single biome? They don't like the single biome idea?
Yeah, they did not like that, like how it was in Star Wars. So I just think they're going to have multiple, which makes more. They're probably going to keep it kind of realistic for how it would be. I
think they're experimenting right now.
They kind of already.
They don't know if it will be or not a thing. with the multiple biome planets.
Well, they kind of already do have multiple planets because of the tidal locked ones that are stupid close to like really hot suns where like one side's molten and the other is solid.
And they've got Terra down, don't they, or Earth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what they'll let you venture to there. Or not
I don't know if they
there.
have Earth and all that stuff done.
Yeah.
But
that's why it's up in the air. They must be like they're not finalized on it because they're talking about it. Still could go either way on that. So we'd have to see what they decide to do there. Let's see what else we got here.
Those types of planets may come later once they get it perfected.
Yeah, that's
right.
Distant future. They would definitely probably work on that because I know that they weren't, like you said, they weren't happy with like. Just like, oh, this is the ice planet. Oh, this is the desert planet. Oh, this is, because it's just kind of vanilla. But, shoot, I'd just be happy to land on the planet and walk around at this point. It's like, they're still.
I would be happy just to have another planet to go to other than the moons.
Yeah.
We'll get there sooner or later.
Absolutely.
Hopefully sooner.
Hopefully,
I still think that we're going to be surprised by the sun in like planet or two will come in the near future, like next patch or two.
They're gonna. What's it say? I'm reading here on the other notes they have. It says they're gonna be streaming from the office tomorrow at 1 o'clock, watching Force Awakens. So you're gonna watch a stream and then watching Force Awakens.
Yes, because they do that. They do viewing parties where you can watch it with them, and
well, you can't watch the movie with them. You can watch a reaction of the movie.
No, the
they
camera's
sync it up.
like from the TV looking at them, and you start at the same time, so you're watching along with them.
Yeah, everyone just watches together, but you don't watch what they're watching.
Yeah.
I mean, you can.
You watch them and their reactions, them sitting on the couch and chairs.
Yes.
3, 2, 1. Okay, play Pink Floyd while we watch Alice in Wonderland. Go. Yeah, it's gonna be good. So there's what we got. We got Chris Roberts back for 10 the Chair next week. I'm trying to think what else happened this week. I guess I've been so enamored with everything that's going to be happening, or the 2.4 hype, which we don't even know what's in it, right? But everybody's so excited because everybody kind of leaned towards, especially with the special RTV with Chris Roberts and stuff.
I just remembered one thing that was supposed to be in 2.4 was the hangar ready Reliant.
Well, Chris Roberts leaked that there might be a flyable fucking Starfarer at 2.4, and I'm like, whoa, Chris. Are you sure you want to say that?
Well, they keep hinting that 2.4 is going to be a big patch, so we could have a lot of things.
And they said that it was going to be as big as 2.0.
Yeah, just as big a launch as 2.0 was is how big 2.4 will be. And I'm like...
That's amazing.
No pressure. That's a... 2.0 is huge, man. We went from like, hey, we're in a fishbowl dogfighting to like, oh, here's a universe.
Right.
What? What's happening? We're actually can go around freely and do stuff?
Well, we had ArcCorp.
Yeah.
It was 1.3 or whatever.
Yeah, but that was still nothing. It was just like, you could walk around to stores that were shelled images there, which was really cool. I mean, the design on it was really neat. But going from that to Port Olisar was like, oh, I can get my ship.
Huge difference, yeah.
Huge difference. There's multiple space stations already with AI that spawns and attacks you. It's like, that just blew my mind. I'm like, this is a really cool leap forward.
It's like, we didn't get the Starfarer, but you can have Denmar.
We have to remember the most important thing that happened in 2.0 to me was the shut the fuck up, Derek Smart patch that I call it, because like you never heard from him really again after that. It was like all the shit he said, all the naysaying. Once 2.0 dropped, it was like, oh, that's it. It's there.
Well, he said that like 1 or 2 weeks before 2.0, so it didn't last very long.
I know, and I wonder how much Chris Roberts did the happy dance after that. It's like, oh yeah, what's happening? It's like, because there was like that was the shut the fuck up thing, because they tried to make every excuse. It's like when they showed Gamescom, they're like, oh, that was just canned animations, I'm doing this. When they showed at CitizenCon, they're like, oh, it's just more of the same thing we saw. And then when 2.0 finally dropped, they're like, oh yeah, never mind. So it was really good. It's really, really good. All right, so we've had all that happen. Couple things some people in the audience wanted me to mention, obviously, is the buyback tokens have come up again. So those of you who need to use your buyback token, don't forget, you have a new buyback token. I never used the first one, but yeah.
Apparently they don't stack.
They don't stack, so if you didn't use your last one, then you still have only one. But regardless of that, there you go.
They should stack.
They've been patching pretty often. We're up to 2.3.1 Charlie.
Yep.
Charlie now, yeah.
So, There's 3 patches this week. That's good.
Absolutely. So we're pretty much at the phase of the show now where we're going to bullshit a little bit more. But if you guys have any questions in the audience, you have any comments, any subjects you want our opinions, or just to talk about regarding Star System, please just pipe up and we'll be interfacing with you guys about all that stuff. So I hope, and I know that they're going to do cargo first, but I really hope that they really hone in before, and they take their time to release the Starfarer flyable. I don't think they need to hurry on that. I mean, it's going to be cool, but I'm not really super worried about it until there's something we can do with it. Because if you just have a big floating gas truck,
you're just a big...
you can't do it. You can't make gas with it or anything. I know you could haul stuff with it, but if they don't have all those type of mechanics on it, I'm not that worried about it flying.
Well, yeah, I'm excited about...
Speaking of the Starfarer, though, one of my work members from Germany doesn't really pay attention to all the stuff, so he came to ask me, like, where did this big ship come from? Because he downloaded a patch and noticed that there's a Starfarer in it. Like, where did this thing come from?
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, people who walked away from the game and came back to that, they're like, holy crap, what happened? We got Kid Dixon here. He said, people were complaining about the Starfarer being too maze-like. What do you guys think?
I agree. That is, like, hard to figure out where you're at in that thing.
It takes a while.
It's not linear at all. And some of where things are located, it just seems kind of weird to me. How it's like pretty much feels sectioned off from, like, okay, the crew in the cockpit is really far away, but really not from some of the other stations. So in an actual, like, when you're flying this, people have to already be staged in the different parts of the ship. Like, you're not going to be able to really run realistically from the cockpit to
anywhere. Besides the escape pod, maybe. I mean, escape pod's the only thing you're going to get to quickly.
So this is the first ship that we see that's like this, where, okay, you can't be chilling up in the cockpit and then fast react to something. You have to already be there.
And I think that's why the requirement for... Okay, because let's put it in perspective. It's a big ship. But it's not by far even the biggest ship or even close to the biggest ship we're going to see in this game. But I feel like they almost stretched out the maze-like hallways to make it even seem bigger than it is. Because if you look at the shots and stuff, like I was making fun the other day, for those of you who know what Zillow is, it's an apartment search thing. It looks like those real estate shots where the guy puts the camera way up high in the corner of the room to make the room look 5 times bigger than it really is. But it's a huge ship, don't get me wrong. But I feel they've almost stretched out all the hallways and conduits and everywhere you crawl space to make it feel way bigger than it even is.
Well, I feel like there's a lot of wasted space in it, too.
Yeah. Well, we'll know depending on how you stack cargo in it. When you fill that thing full of dry cargo inside, who knows?
Well, when I've seen quite a few videos of people clipping through the hole, and there's a lot of empty space in that ship that it's just not utilized for people space.
It's used for component space.
Well, we'll see when the components are there, but I think all the components are allocated flat panel. I don't think there's like a bunch of extra components are going to be added, because even the refueling things and all that outside the regular power plants and everything, they're all accounted for on the model of the ship already. So they're
Well, the Starfarer's got like 3 or 4 airlock rooms.
Yeah.
So you need to split stuff off and have a lot of airlock doors.
Yeah.
And if the crew that are up in their room, there's 3 ways down from the 4th floor. So if they need to if they're sleeping and need to get to their stations, they can get there pretty quick. They got 3 ways down.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. I think from the crew, if you do take the perspective from the actual crew quarters to everywhere else, that's pretty quick. But they've purposely, and I think it's intentional, I don't think it's a flaw, they've made it hard to get from one station to the other stations. Like, you're not going to be able to just go over by where the engine room or engine area is from the cockpit real easy. And that's why you get that minimum requirement of players for it, because if you didn't have that dynamic, you wouldn't need 7 people. This one, you need dedicated roles to fly this at least 7 people, because if, like Kato said, if you're not standing there, you're not going to get up as a co-pilot and be like, let me go check out the engines, because you're going to be, I'll be back in 10 or 20 minutes. By the time you get there and get back, it's not going to be.
It's a large ship. It's not a Constellation. Yeah.
And I think it's a great entry-level ship for people to get used to that idea, because when you go up to, like, the Idris or these other things, you're going to deal with the same scenario. It's not, Scotty's not going to be up at the bridge and go, hey, Captain, let me go down and check it real quick. I'll be right back. No, it's going to be a while.
Yeah, I think the Starfarer is the first true multi-crew ship, honestly. Like, they have the Andromeda and the Freelancer and Retaliator, but realistically, this feels like a multi-crew ship. You know, the Retaliator, it's like, okay, I can get point A to point B in, like, no time. No big deal.
Yeah.
But this one, like, it feels like it has those, okay, you have to be doing this.
And you need more than just
100%
gunners.
of the time.
Yeah. It's not focused on, like the Retaliator and the other ships that are fighter bombers and stuff like that we've had up to now. It's focused on, we need gunner seats. We need just people to man the guns. This one is, we need actual crew roles if you want to function as a complete ship, which I think is a really cool dynamic. You know, I hope to see that, moving forward with the other ones where the stations lie and all that stuff. Because up to now, a lot of the concepts on some of the larger ships, you've seen so many stations available up at the bridge where I want to see that specialty role, like, you can only do this if you're back there. And I think the component systems, the way they have it laid out, make that a have to. Because before they really decided to break out in the specialty component system like this, I think we didn't really have the same type of potential dynamic of, well, you need to be in engine room, but you can do some of those functions from the bridge. No, this one's like, hey, if this blows up, you don't have a guy there, you're fucked. That's just it. You're not going to be doing anything.
Right.
So that's really good. I like that, because I want that, Starship Enterprise or Millennium Falcon feel where you need a guy back there doing that thing while you're trying to drive or you're trying to keep your whole crew alive. So that's really good.
I hope they stick with that in the future. I mean, it is a pain in the butt, but at the same time, I think it adds a nice dynamic to the game.
Absolutely. Because I think of the game as far as ship terms as like a Star Wars type thing, where you see on the medium-sized ships like the Freelancer stuff that I'd view almost like a close to or a little bit smaller than Millennium Falcon, where you see like the jump drive goes out, so Han Solo has to run back and try to fix it himself. There, he can do that, but on like a Starfarer, no way, man. You're gonna have to have a crew to do it. It's just the way it goes.
Yeah, 4 floors it takes time to get up and down a couple floors.
Absolutely.
I love those elevators, though.
They're pretty cool.
And good thing they thought of the no power issue of those things too.
Yeah, Unison said, "Oh, wasn't the Starfarer supposed to be a refinery too? How are they going to put that in?" They already have the equipment allocated for that, where they'll be able to live harvest it and all that stuff. You just add the module.
The front 2 tanks are the refineries. The other 6 tanks are storage tanks.
Yeah, the 2 forward tanks are larger, and those are the refinery ones.
Yeah. And then you got the refueling system for refueling stuff, where you have the...
The only thing that's not there right now is the refueling arm.
Yeah.
And that's going to be very interesting because
Yeah, I want to see how that's going to work too, exactly.
are we going to do a manual docking on that or not? Because that's not an easy thing to do.
That would be computer automated, and you're not going to be doing it when the ships are moving. You're in space; you can sit still. Unlike on Earth, where you have to be moving because you're flying. So it's going to be easy.
Yeah.
And then somebody sneeze, and then cancels it, and then goes into quantum leap right there.
We have auto land. It's going to be auto fuel. It's not a big deal. I don't think.
Unless you're Mitauchi who never uses auto land and just drive into the Starfarer.
Well, then you can blow your Starfarer up every night.
Right.
That's fine.
Well, I don't think you would destroy the Starfarer unless you hit it like quite well.
I might destroy the fueling arm.
Yeah, so it's like you probably destroy the arm.
Put it through the front of my ship on accident.
Yeah, but if it catches on fire, it could come back and explode the whole ship.
It's like, this dumb asshole keeps running to my gas pump. So blew up my Starfarer again. That's great. Yeah, Unis says, really, those small things are the refinery? And it's like, yep.
Yeah, I think they are going to have to automate it because people could say, hey, I want to buy fuel from you, and then they break your fuel arm and blow you up just for kicks. You know, they're going to have to do something to prevent that type of griefing.
Yeah, where if they want to grief like that, it's going to be obvious intentional. They can't just go, oops, I drove into you. It's like, if you automate it, then it's like you just enter the refueling animation, and then there you go. You're expecting like huge tanks? Well, I mean, that's not the entire thing there. I mean, that's a refueling.
And these are stock ships too, so they might get bigger.
Yep.
I mean, you wouldn't be able to land anymore, but
those are huge tanks. I mean, they're multiple times the size of like an M50. I mean, that's a lot of fuel.
We could fit like 3 Auroras in each of those tanks.
Yeah, he's asking about the intake for the gas. Like, where's the intake? I don't know if they have all that apparatus on
it's
there.
on the front of the ship. There's like a scoop type thing underneath where the pilot
sits. It's just it's the same thing that you would use as an air intake.
Oh, okay. So the front of the ship, the gas cycles through the whole body of the ship to the tank, spools up there, refuels.
That's why they said with the Gemini, you had the option of replacing that with the missile pod, but then you couldn't take in and refine fuel.
Yeah. Val asked about what happens if the tank gets shot. Yeah, we've talked about that a lot. I hope they make it to where it could gloriously explode, but we don't know for sure. I mean, obviously,
it could. The only reason I see it exploding if the ship explodes, but if the tank's penetrated, I see this losing all the fuel.
It would just the tank would get released. You've got the mechanisms on there to let it go. So if it gets damaged or is a danger, you just release the one tank and let it float away and explode on its own.
I just release all the tanks and pick them back up if I survived. You know.
I hope that it takes nothing less than a torpedo to puncture those tanks.
You would hope so.
Because those are huge targets. And I'm also hoping on the Gemini if the tanks are a little more
armored or
armored. Yeah, layered. Like they're not exposed.
I think those tanks are going to be tougher than people think. I don't think they're going to be like just these paper thin, like, oh, I'll do a
These aren't going to be 50-gallon drums where you're shooting you with 50 cal.
Because they're made not to only transport fuel, they're made to transport any type of liquid cargo there, or you can put solid state cargo inside the same holds where you like clamp it down. So.
Actually, no, you'd need completely different racks for solid, but
still,
and you have another fact. Those things are made to withstand entry into a planet's atmosphere too. So,
yeah.
Well, you got shields on the ship that are pretty strong, and the Gemini has an extra stronger shield, I think, than the standard Starfarer.
And it has bigger guns.
Where's my gray cat? I'm going over to it now.
There you go.
Oh god! Speaking of great cat, I was watching Captain Richard, or just like park a. The 52 underneath the bay, and then park the gray cat underneath the bottom of the cockpit, and then push the button to make it jump 20 feet in the sky.
Yeah, so basically, yes, Val, that's like what you're saying, where it's like, so if things get dicey, just jettison the tanks and go into combat mode. Absolutely. That's what I'd do. I mean, obviously that's up to the pilot, but that's what I would do. I wouldn't want to like be carrying sticks of dynamite on me running in machine gun fire. It just doesn't sound like a bright idea, but it's whatever people want to do.
I don't think those would be sticks of dynamite. Those would be like thermobaric nuclear bombs on the back of your ship.
Well, you know, whatever.
I mean, they are hydrogen.
Tomato.
Like,
absolutely. So yeah,
There are a lot of tanks too.
There are.
Like I
there's
was
6
thinking,
tanks of storage and 2.
2 of refining.
Two.
So you have 8 altogether.
So you probably be able to store or like refine fuel in the refineries, but yeah.
I would assume it refine through the process of the ship. By the time it gets those 2 tanks, and then the other 6 tanks behind it are all overflow, and you'd fill up when you're done refining fuel all the way to the front 2 tanks.
I'm trying. I don't remember the name of the place, but there's this one like gas giant that's known for luring people into to like refuel, but it's not safe, and it like does a like EMP kind of thing and disables all the ships, and everybody dies. So
they really captured the details. It's just amazing. Like the textures, and it feels very industrial. I love what they're doing with these ships.
How many of you ever played ED?
I have.
Okay, it's like, have you ever went exploring in ED?
It was very boring. I didn't do it very much.
Oh, it's like Juniper's one system. It's like, oh, it's another gas giant. It looks exactly like the last 3. You know?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
It's our system, and it's like every single gas giant's completely different. Even if it looks similar to like Jupiter or something like that, it's completely different. Like composition, density, all that shit.
Well, I mean, we have yet to see what it's going to be like in Star Citizen. I mean, they are going to use some level of progressive, or what's that called?
Procedurally generated.
That's what I'm. Yeah, that they're going to use some level of procedurally generated. So, I mean, not everything is being handmade, which I don't expect it to be. The game would take 20 years to come out.
It's like to be handmade, but it's being handheld. It's like, you know, they're going to generate a plan, and if they don't like it, they're going to keep on generating and tweaking the variables to what they want.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely agree. Star Citizen is going to be a lot more entertaining when it comes to exploration and things that it has to offer. Overly dangerous, but I'm not trying to start a fanboy war though or anything.
Exploration sucks. I think that it'd be much cool to haul cargo.
But some of the gas giants are inhabitable, like Crusader. Some of them will kill you. Some of you can't refill off of them. Some of them are very good for refilling off of it, and you have to not even have to like refine it all that much.
Wait, are we fuel scooping from planets or stars?
We're scooping from gas giants.
Well, you're also going to be collecting as you just fly normally. You can collect stuff that's floating around.
Nebula, all sorts of different gases.
Yeah.
Random gas cloud. There you go. I'm sure you'll just detect them, or you'll have somebody like radar him in and radio the position, and then you can like go right to it.
Yeah. The most abundant concentrations of hydrogen is going to be around stars.
Yep.
But I mean, that's, it's a video game, so it doesn't really matter.
Whatever makes it fun, man. I mean, it's like, I know in EVE they just had random spawning gas clouds that were throughout different solar systems, and you'd have to radio men find, just the same way a salvager would find for, dilapidated or derelict ships, and just kind of like there didn't have to be anything that made sense what happened there, but they just kind of put a little story to it, and there it is. And you just go eat it up and move on. So look forward to hours of grinding all day, harvesting stuff with Kato on his ship, and we'll get our fuel stocks up. It'll be amazing. It's like, we got gas for days.
Yep.
We didn't go to Taco Bell. It was amazing.
Salvaging? What do we want to do today? Salvage, mine, farm fuel.
And then
We got it all.
everyone else who tries to go there. Take
Oh,
their
wow. I
ships
never
to-
went into the cruise quarters. Okay. This is
Oh, yeah.
cool.
Cruise quarters is the sweetest part, man. They're like
I know.
really neat.
The captain spread, man.
Yeah, captain's quarters in there, and then you got
The
what
bathroom.
Stout was talking about. There's like 3 different ways to get down from the cruise quarters to your stations. So you could seriously like have an alarm go off, like, "Oh man, shit's going down. Get to your quarters," or "Hey, we found a new gas giant. We got to go hit this thing up. Wake up, guys, out of your beds. Get down here and get this thing going." It's gonna be cool. Super cool.
Yeah, no, it's a really cool ship.
I can't remember. It was the like the actual functioning bits of the or the floor
I
that
agree with
got
Val.
lost.
He says he could see them making fuel explode for the game, but as like everybody talks about, it's like hydrogen shouldn't cause such explosions, real life and all the stuff in space, but they're gonna make it fun. I mean, the same way they made excuses why you can hear the ships in space. It's your headset like makes you hear them, and I'm like, sorry, you wouldn't hear bullets and all that crap, but it's not fun. It's not as
Right.
fun as having like
Listening
shit,
to
like,
silence.
I'm EVAing with a pistol trying to go through there, and there's like a Merlin like buzzing me like feet off my head, like that's so cool.
Right.
So exploding fuel makes sense. I just make really hard centered tanks, but absolutely, I think the fuel should explode. I mean, come on. The pretty explosions are one of the best parts of the fucking game. Makes me log in every day.
I'm sure they'll do something good. They've got good explosions so far, and they're getting better.
It's amazing explosions. Like, I unfortunately didn't get to capture the one explosion I really liked a lot. I actually had one where I drove into on accident. I was fighting a Connie, and I think I was in the Mustang, and I actually got him disabled, and I was shooting him, and he was trying to run away, and I blew the whole back end off, and I accidentally ran into the ship, and my Mustang drove all the way through the cargo bay while it was exploding, saw people inside, and drove through to the main bridge, and I could see the captain right before I died too.
What?
Yeah, that was the coolest thing I've ever seen. It's like, because I was going so fast, he just put on the brakes because he was dying, and I just drove basically through the entire ship while it was exploding, and it was the coolest thing I've ever seen. I've been trying desperately to like get the video capture off of Twitch for it, and I'm like, oh, I can't find it. And then it all, like, when you die and it pulls out and you explode, it had this beautiful blue halo of everything exploding and then fiery red. I was like, oh my god, that was the best explosion ever, and I can't pull it back.
Here's a question, how many starfarers does it take to top off an Idris?
That'd be interesting.
Ooh.
That'd be
I don't
interesting.
know.
I wonder, here's another interesting question. Could I pull an Idris into the vicinity of a harvestable gas cloud and like live feed it? So could I basically hook my Starfarer up, plug it in there, and just refine it and start pumping and say, let's all fly at the same time, and like fill it up that way? That would be awesome.
That would be.
And then maybe have multiple portals to like plug in, so you have like 6 Starfarers refueling the Idris at once.
I see possibly like 2 or 3 Starfarer loads.
It would not be beyond my imagination to make it like, multiple ships of fuel, because God, how long would it take you? Like, we got 1 Starfarer hook if you just have like a gas line of trucks.
Well, one full Starfarer is holding enough fuel to probably fill up, 10 or 20 other Starfarers. So one Starfarer may fill up an Idris with the quantum fuel.
Oh no, that's a big ship.
And you're not going to wait till you're empty to fill up usually either. So
No doubt. Well, unless you're a moron. Because it's like, I have a capital ship. It's all, dude, gas get a little captain. It's all right. She'll ride. She's got a hell of gas mileage, man.
We cruise it.
We'll
Cruise
just
it.
cruise it all the way.
yeah, you run
the
out and
engines
then you're
off.
siphoning it out of the Hornet sitting inside.
Yeah, it's like, dude, we got to empty all the ships. All the ships in the hangar. We gotta get. I don't give a fuck. We need gas.
Turn the
Oh,
air
you gotta
You know,
conditioner
somebody
off.
will do that too. They'll like jump that thing to the wrong spot. They'll be like, "Oh, we're out of gas."
I've
Okay,
definitely
somebody
done
get the
that.
rubber tube, and the
Oh, I live for that call, that emergency call one day. We're out in the gas truck, and it's like, "Whoop, we got an Idris out here requesting fuel. Oh, we're on that. That's a payday and a half there. It's like, fill that thing up, full tank.
Let me tell you, there's nothing more frustrating than flying out in space and then running out of fuel.
Oh my god!
Because I did that twice in Elite Dangerous, and that was probably
Oh, it is
that
so
felt
hardcore
way
in
worse
Elite.
than getting blown up,
Yeah.
like
It
by
what?
enemies or anything. It's like, well, I just guess
It-
I can self-destruct and
What ship?
I think it was a
It's an anaconda.
no, I never.
That was
I
have a
did it
Type
like 3 or 4
6.
times in one night about a week ago in my Gladius. I kept running out of fuel. I'm like, what the hell? Because I wasn't taking any damage and going for repairs. I just kept going.
We're talking about on Elite Dangerous, where your ship it costs like 1,000,000 credits. It's just because you just.
But I think it should be that way in Star Citizen for sure. I mean, if you just jump, it's like, I'm out of gas. Uh-oh.
Well, they're gonna have the mechanics to refuel.
Yeah,
so
but-
you'll be able to send out a message saying, "Hey, any refuelers in the area?
I really hope
I was an idiot."
answer is not somebody
I
else.
really hope it's not an overdrive that comes to your rescue.
Yeah, overdrive, and they got a small,
Oh,
quick trip
no.
gas can, and they're like, "Well, you dump all your cargo, I'll give you the smallest little sip of
This
gas."
is-
Well, it sounds like they're going to have some type
WTF
of
shows
system.
up with this big shit-eating grin.
Yeah.
It's gonna.
They're going to have some type of system for you to look and see who's around and what their prices are. The same thing with when you die and you need to respawn. You're going to see what they charge and if they'll take
Yeah,
you.
for the respawn areas.
So you're going to have to list and say this is my price for per gallon or tankful or whatever it is.
yeah, if you want to refill publicly, you'll broadcast that. But it'll be so funny though, because you'll get those people. They'll go over like global comms or voice and be like, "Hey guys, I need some help over," and just listen to them crackle as they die instantly when everybody jumps on them, because it's like you invited every pirate in the galaxy to get your position to come over and do your thing. So that's gonna be hilarious.
Yeah, but that's why you fly with Overwatch, because we will make sure you don't
Yep.
get
Protective
attacked by
services. Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right, I'll be there in 20 minutes.
20, 30 minutes. So, Val wanted to know if you could store fuel at your hangar. I believe that Chris Roberts said, and this is when they were first talking about the refueling mechanics and all that stuff, their intention, obviously nothing's final, that's the way it is, game development, their intention is that you would be able to store assets and stuff at your hangar, including fuels and stuff of that nature. What amount? No idea. How much, will you have to buy some sort of
Whatever
upgrade
you
or something to
can
have a
fit.
huge amount? There you go.
Actually,
Well, they have SCUs, right?
Mhm.
And does fuel take up SU? Like, are the containers
Oh.
going to be a standard
haven't-
cargo unit?
they haven't said anything about fuel units yet.
Mhm.
Actually, it's a very, very good question for for the chair and all that stuff.
It is a good question. I also think, though, that you're going to run into the second aspect of that is it's not like in some games where your hangar, okay, if your hangar physically is at this planet and you store a bunch of fuel there, that's great. But if you're over at this other planet, you'd still have to get that fuel to you over here in order to utilize it at the other planet. It's not like a infinite mailbox where you can get your stuff anywhere in the
No.
universe. It physically has to be moved to wherever you want to stock it at in
Yeah.
order to make it happen.
And then
Well, the hangars are going to be
That's it.
modular, so you just buy the fuel, the
Yeah.
fuel storage module and add it on. They'll add that down the road sometime.
Well, plus you'll
But-
have, if you're in a corporation, they're going to allow corporate spaces and hangars and stuff. So if you're like holding fuel for the corp or org, I assume that they'd let you, store it in that capacity too.
But way back before even AC was a thing that we had, we used to actually have the weapons that we purchased off of the Voyager Direct and stuff in our hangars already. But they'd be floating on this like little pedestal that levitation thing.
Yeah, like Val said, in Eve, you can store unlimited stuff. That's very true, but it's still at that physical location. So they don't have a limit on that. It's just you still have to be able to transport it to another location should you need to use it there. So
I think we're going to have to be able to relocate our hangars occasionally because you're never going to stay in the same central place forever,
Well,
and you
and
get so far away.
yeah, and
We're
the thing
going to
I
have to
like-
make some type of allowance for that.
Well, in Eve, what they do is you just, as an individual player, you automatically have a free hangar everywhere. So any station you pull in, you're allocated because you are a citizen or you are a member of the universe. You have a hangar space, and it's not limited. But your hangar's not like a mailbox where you can get it anywhere. You'd have to physically move it, but you don't pay anything for the hangar. Now, corporations and orgs have to pay for office space to actually have a presence there. But individuals can have a hangar anywhere for free. And they, like, there'd be days where after we've played for months, I'd have to go around and clean up my hangars. I might have 62 different locations, stations where I drop stuff off. It's just a big mess, and I just go around with a large vessel and pick everything up, reprocess what I need, sell it off and stuff in Eve. And I would assume they're going to do something similar like that, because if you had to start buying a hangar in every single station you wanted to use in Star Citizen, that could get really pricey for an individual player.
You do have to pay for hangar space.
Well, how much is it, though? Is it going to be like...
They didn't say.
Well, they should keep that pretty low, I would hope. Because, I mean,
Yeah.
as an individual pilot, you don't want to make... Like he's saying, especially if, say, you are a trucker and you got to, like, go all the way across the galaxy, you shouldn't have to pay huge rates just to have a place in both areas. Now, if it was an apartment or something, I understand, but just an inventory slot each place, I would hope they'd a lot for that somehow.
Our hangar is like our bank vault in a lot of games where you can access from anywhere. It needs to be something like that just for basic gameplay mechanics. Otherwise, it's going to be... Nobody's going to like it. It's going to be
really convoluted, and then it's going to make it too complicated. I agree on a corporate or org level or whatever. Yes, pay for it. Yes, make them buy one each spot, all that stuff, because that's part of the org. That's part of what the org exists as a physical entity that should be doing that. But individual players should not have to pay for hangar space. I'm not saying it has to be infinite. You can put a finite out or make it cost to go beyond a certain level. But everybody should have a basic slot hangar where they can store some things.
Well, we have 4 hangars that possible have, and you could have one, your choice of one for free, and if you want to have all 4 at the same time, then you got to pay extra for it. Something like that.
Yeah, something like that would work nice. That would be good. Yep. All right. Well, I think we've gone over quite a bit of stuff without really going over quite a bit of stuff, but we've talked a little bit about this week. We've talked about the Starfarer, still living off the hype of the previous week on that. Still an amazing ship. Can't wait to see the flyability on it. That'll be an awesome test. And hopefully once one of us gets that going and the game gets that going, we'll see probably the 4 of us in some ships flying around checking out. I'll man the guns or down in the engine room for Stout or Kato or anybody. I'd be down to do that. I want to check out all the jobs on them. That'd be pretty cool. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Hopefully next release would be cool. They keep hinting at it, so hopefully they make it happen.
I know. I think if they're flying around Idris and stuff, I don't think the fuel mechanics going to be... I don't think the multi-crew is going to be much of an issue. You're probably going to get clipping on the first build. You're probably going to get some mechanics issues where I'm standing there in my bed or I lay down in the bed and I get sucked out of the ship randomly. Same stuff we've seen with every other ship they've made, but they'll fix them. That's what they do. And
damn you, physics grid.
I know. But
well, they keep learning on every new ship, so they're getting better and better at it.
This is the first 4-story ship I think they got that will be flying though on a massive level. So I can't wait to see a whole bunch of Starfarers trying to fly around in the game at once because it'll be hilarious.
Just like
small apartment complexes coming at you.
Like when 2.3 came out, every single ship that was coming off of Port Arthur was basically a cartel wall.
Yeah, I can't wait in Squadron 42 to see a king ship. It'll be like,
ooh,
you'll be
know.
That's no moon.
Did you see the motion cap with
Andy Serkis?
Andy Serkis and
Yeah.
the other guy where they
I
were
did.
on the king ship and they had the sword that
Oh,
was
the sword that
like the
activates it.
key.
Oh, that was awesome, dude. That looks really good. I can't wait just to find the language. Like for them to release more notes on the language stuff. I'm not a huge like linguistics guy, but it's cool when you got some like depth to it like that. To where
Linguini?
linguini. I like
Linguini?
linguini. It's amazing.
But
So
one of the backroom rewards, like the early backroom reward, was free starting hangar fees.
yeah.
So
Well, we'll see. I mean, it's gonna be a work in progress. Maybe they'll release that, and then people will be like, "Well, I got all this shit now. I can't log off because I don't have anywhere to store it." So, you never know. You never know. We'll find out. I'm sure as it develops. But I hope, like Stout, I hope they kind of accommodate for the hanger stuff because it's not a good money sink for an individual player to try to charge them for a bunch of hangers. It's a much better to charge corporations and do it that way. Let the
it might
individual
be
players
like
have fun and do it.
you have one free hanger, then all others are paid for, or something like that.
Maybe, but I I just hope to keep it nice and easy where people can get in the game. They could get a couple hangers if they need them for 2 locations, and maybe they can set up some trade and do some stuff. Because what it's going to do is that's going to be the caveat that's going to make people want to go out and take the risk to do it solo because they can maximize profits, right? But the other side of that is if you're solo and you ain't got any backup, you could also get in some bad trouble, whether it be AI or other players. So I think that's what makes it interesting. So I hope they do that and do it in that method. So, all right, guys. Well, we've been going a little right around an hour or so. So we're probably going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. Sid Vicious. Yep, I bet org hangers will be huge. I don't even know if you'll actually see the hangers. You know what I mean? I think it'll be. I'm talking more on paper in the background. I'm sure it'll look cool. Maybe have a little office thing. But I couldn't see them expanding much bigger than what a player hanger would look like on the surface. Just maybe have a lot more inventory slots, like you store stuff there and it shows, hey, you have this many more slots in the org area.
Or it's like you have like the back end area that you don't actually go to, and then like front end where like you can select ships to pull out and whatever resources.
Well, it's just like you show so many ships that you have in your hangar at once. You choose like, I'm going to see these ships. Most people aren't going to see all these different ships or all this different stuff in the foreground. You're just going to have a lot of back-end stuff.
And they already said you're going to be able to change your ships from within the hangar, so
yeah,
you won't have to do it from the website anymore.
That's going to be great.
So it'll be just like, pull this one out and let me use it. Boom.
And so awesome, they're actually going to do like what we all talked about and use the actual mobi-glass temporarily so that we can do everything off mobi-glass and not really worry too much about the whole hollow table thing. I much rather use the mobi-glass because I could go out, if I want to work on my ship fittings, I could sit on an asteroid, Indian style, and just sit there and work on ship fittings on my mobi-glass instead of trying to work them all out at the hollow table and all that jazz. So that's going to be nice.
Yeah, the mobi-glass, you don't have to do fancy 3D graphics and holograms and stuff. It's all kind of standardized and simple, which makes it quick and easy and less problematic.
Absolutely, I agree 100%. And it still looks cool because it's on mobi-glass.
Yeah.
So it's good stuff. All right, guys. We're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. I appreciate everybody for watching. I appreciate Stoutman, Zealous, and Cato all for being here tonight. Thank you, guys. I know it's late for you, Cato. I know it's not too late for Stout because he'll probably... Are you going to be streaming after the Stout?
Yeah, I'm going to go stream.
All right, we're definitely going to say everybody go watch Stoutman after this one. So please watch him. He's going to be streaming, showing us some more Star Citizen goodies. Myself, I'm going to be going to bed as well because I have a new desk that's going to be implemented here into my office tomorrow. Yeah, I know. I got it for under $100 and it's over 12 linear feet long. So it's going to be amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, I got a great deal. Great deal.
Nice.
A lot of work to do, though. So,
well,
guys.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Yep, everybody have a great weekend, and we'll see you all later. Thanks again for watching the Space Bro Show. Don't forget to subscribe for great raffle prizes.
Later.
That sounded good, right? Just had to have all the little
You gotta
lines.
like droned off into nothing.
That was self-droned off. So we'll see you next week, guys. Have a good night.